Fife Property and Market Update, and this is for the week commencing the 18th to the 24th. So we're going to do a run through of everything that was taking place last week, right across Fife with all agencies that use Rightmove. Then we'll take a look at what we were doing in particular as an agency, and then we'll do a run through of the shows that have taken place so you can see what to go back and rewatch. As always, if you have any questions, any comments, anything at all that we can help with, feel free to put it in the comments and we will absolutely come back to you. But this gives you a great insight into what is taking place in the Fife property market, because you'd be surprised how many people think that now is not the time to sell, which is absolutely not the case. And once again, we have another week's worth of figures that prove that point. And if you are a regular to these shows, you will know that we have been seeing the pattern that there is active buyers in the marketplace, and actually more buyers than properties that are coming to market, which one is great because it shows you that buyers are still in that mindset. They are absolutely still buying. But two, it means we are working through any older previous stock, which is great to see as well. So we're going to start with last week's figures. Now, what is great as well is next week's show, I will be doing the January roundup. So while we say 1 week doesn't make a trend, and we obviously look at the weekly figures, next week's show, I'll be able to do a January snapshot, which will give you great insight, because then that's a month's worth of data that will obviously help us and hopefully help you as well think that now is the time to go. And I was only just having this conversation with a client yesterday who thinks he needs to wait till spring, summer. And it's all of these educational pieces that helps you understand why now is the time to go. But let's get the figures up. So they should be on the screen for you just now. Straight away off the bat, you can see 102 properties were made available on Rightmove across Fife with all agencies just last week alone. So 102. Cast your eye and you will see that 109 properties had offers accepted on them and are now showing as sold subject to concluded missives. So that is 109 buyers in the marketplace looking for their next home, and they have secured them. And this is numbers that we're continuing to see even kind of November, December, January. There is more buyers in the marketplace than properties that are becoming available. So if you are looking to get moved, why are we waiting until spring, summer? Yes, it's maybe lighter evenings. Yes, your gardens may be in full bloom, but your garden not being full bloom is not going to stop somebody buying your home. That is just the long and short of it. Actually, you as a seller entering the marketplace when there is a lot less competition, but there is more buyers, is absolutely key to getting moved. If you think you're sitting there thinking, I need to wait till spring, summer, think about every other seller in Fife with that mindset, and think about the amount of stock that's going to hit the marketplace. But if you go now, there's less competition while there is still buyers. And when there's less competition and buyers don't have as much supply, demand obviously increases. Therefore, they act faster and they put their best foot forward because they need to secure that property because they don't have as many options available to them. So think of it that way. Obviously, it's something we would love to discuss with you in more detail and really guide you on why now is the time to go. But this is just obviously a brief snapshot. And obviously you can see it's broken down into micro regions. Cooper starting off strong with 9 properties instructed versus 8 properties sold. East Snook, 3 versus 3. Some people might even be surprised with the numbers of 3, just because everybody thinks that it's out of season for the East Snook and not much takes place. But that is not the case. And again, if you are regulars to these shows, you will see the East Snook has continued even over the winter months, the colder months, the darker months. It still has been having activity taking place within the East Snook. So 3 instructed versus 3 sold. St Andrews, 5 versus 4. So that is 5 new properties made available, 4 properties showing as sold subject to concluded missives. Now, this is just resale homes only. This is not taking into account the new builds. But for the new builds, there was 1 new build plot made available in the KY16 postcode. So that just gives you an insight into the fact that even the new build site is slowed down in terms of plots they're making available. Obviously, the numbers 5 and 4 are slightly low than what we do tend to see in St Andrews. So obviously, it's just taking a wee bit longer to kind of pick up as we come into January. But still, 5 new properties available is great. It's given obviously options there. Just bear in mind that the St Andrews market is slightly different. And again, I was just having this conversation with a client last week. and she had said, look, her finger was off the pulse a little bit. She hadn't really been keeping an eye on the market, but she was wondering why. So I was able to give her a real insight into the KY16 postcode and all the different contributing factors into why it's a slower marketplace within that area, whether it be the second home council tax, whether it be ADS, whether it be obviously the new build developments and the incentives, whether it be changing legislation for Airbnb. All of these contributing factors did have an impact on the KY16 postcode. Now, if you do want to discuss that in more detail, please do reach out, and I would love to have that conversation with you, because it's all about being realistic and having patience when it comes to selling within St Andrews just now. Leavenmouth, 8 versus 11. So great that obviously first area that had double digits of properties showing sold as subject to concluded missives, which was great to see. Obviously, Leavenmouth again is its own little marketplace, and it really does act really strong. Obviously, the investment, we are continuing to see the positive impact on the commuting links and all the investments that are continuing to go on in the area. So it is great to see for the Leavenmouth area, 8 versus 11. Dunfermline, really high transaction numbers. They're kind of getting back quite quickly. They've snapped back to the numbers that we are used to, because they're normally around your 50s, kind of low 60s. So they're creeping on up there. But again, Dunfermline, it's its own little marketplace that does have a lot higher transaction numbers to the rest of Fife, purely due to you get a lot more property for a lot less money being this side of the bridge, but you can still commute into your Edinburgh and beyond. So it is the kind of next best place that people will naturally gravitate towards, rather than kind of paying the Edinburgh prices. But you also get a different lifestyle as well, being in Dunfermline and kind of out of the city and the hustle and the bustle. So it is a really popular area, and you see that with the numbers. Glenrothes, 13 versus 13. Not very often do we get it absolutely spot on with the numbers. Glenrothes did have a couple of quiet weeks, so it's obviously gradually going to start picking up. Likewise, Kirkcaldy is always the higher out of your Glenrothes and Kirkcaldy. Kirkcaldy does have higher transaction numbers. Again, just with what is available within Kirkcaldy, you've got your leisure facilities, you've got your schooling, you've got your commuting links, you've obviously got all different locations, all different price points, and all different availability for all different people within the marketplace. So again, it is a naturally popular area. That's why out of the areas, it's kind of the second highest for transaction numbers out of all the micro regions. So that is your 102 and your 109. If you do want to discuss that in more detail, please do reach out. We would love to have that chat with you. And as I say, listen for next week, because that is when we will do the January snapshot. So it'll be really interesting to see what the areas performed like. You'll probably have a little bit of an idea if you are a regular to these shows and you've maybe been keeping an eye, especially if you're looking at one particular area. But definitely look at that one next week. So now we will take a look at what we were doing as an agency last week. So this is properties that we have sold. So the first one was in West Weems, and it was this property here, the lovely bright yellow one, and what a lovely pop of colour for a miserable day like today. So it's nice to get that kind of pop of colour, absolutely. And this was on Main Street. It was a 2-bedroom terrace property right on the Fife coastal path. And what was great with this property, yes, you can't see this from the photo, however, it got stunning sea views, moving condition, not a thing that you needed to do to it, off-street parking, and a gorgeous, really tranquil garden that allowed you to just enjoy the location and the lifestyle of this property. So it's great that that one's over the line. Now, it was on for offers over 210,000, and the new family are delighted to be moving to the area and able to really enjoy those fabulous sea views and the walks that they're going to get right on their doorstep. And what's great is, if you think about average conveyancing time, they'll be enjoying that home for spring, summer, which is just amazing. So that was the first property. Next one. This one was in Fern Hill Drive. Now, this was a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 2-reception, detached property. As you can see, it's got a gorgeous curb appeal, a lot of outdoor space as well, likewise inside. Now, this particular property was on the market for offers over 340,000. Again, buyers are delighted to be moving to the area. Likewise, the sellers are delighted that they can now move on with their journey. This was a big footprint of property, as I say. It was a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 2-reception, off-street parking, integrated garage, landscape garden, as you can see, and that's just the front. There was more to the back as well. And it's in a sought after area. Your kind of Fern Hill and neighbouring streets are desirable and really sought after. Again, just with everything that's on your doorstep, and that's what makes them an ideal family home. Now, with these properties, I obviously can't disclose what offers were accepted on them. They need to go through that conveyancing stage, but this is just giving you an insight into the price points that are going, the style of properties and buyers' mindsets in the marketplace as it is. Because if you think that's too high a price point, so yes, we're in the kind of doom and gloom month that everybody talks about. January feels like the longest month and we're just coming out the festive period. But if you think a 210 price point and a 340 price point, high price point properties that are still going over the line. With that said, we do also obviously cater and we do also sell all different property types of all different price points. Now, this one was in Windygates. It was a 1-bedroom upper flat. So it's these windows just here, ready to move in. And what's great is it is situated in a fantastic location. So you're literally just head down to the right and you are at basically the Cambridge Bridge train station. So fantastic for commuting links. So obviously you've got your local amenities close by. Now this one is going to a first time buyer. So again, yes, you hear all the doom and gloom, but if you educate yourself, you will realize it's not actually as bad as you perhaps think. But this has gone to a first time buyer. So it's great that obviously this person has got their foot on the ladder and they have secured their first home. And it was on the market for offers over 47,000. So that is what has sold. Next, we will take a look at what we've got coming soon. So this gives you a great insight into what Perry and I have got coming to market and what pre-portals to look out for. So the first one is Balnagowan Drive in Glenrothes. Now, Perry actually did the pre-portal for this one on Saturday. So if you go onto our Glenrothes page, you'll be able to see the full video walkthrough. It's a 3-bedroom semi-detached property and you'll be able to see all of its inside. And then at the very end, she will tell you the price point that it's predicted to come to market at. So do go and watch that if you are looking for your next home in Glenrothes, because it is a beautiful one as well. So definitely go and have a look at that. Also coming soon is there is a 3-bedroom semi-detached within St Monans. It's in a desirable area and it is immaculate. It is a beautiful home, prime position. It's a corner plot driveway. It's got a landscape garden, not a thing that you need to do inside. It's got a gorgeous open plan kitchen, dining, living space, 3 bedrooms, and a stunning contemporary bathroom. And as I say, St Monans, and it is a beautiful home, 3-bedroom semi-detached. So I'm excited for you to see that one, and you don't have to wait long to see the pre-portal for that one. Now, if you're wondering what a pre-portal is, this is a full video walkthrough. It is your preview. It is almost like your virtual viewing before the property goes on your Rightmove, your Zoopla, and your S1 Homes. So wherever you're looking to purchase a property, that is where you need to go and watch the Facebook page. You will see the agent's face. You'll see the words pre-portal. Watch that full video. Right at the end, we tell you the price point, and that is the key. Make sure you keep listening to the end. We know you might love it. We know that you're desperate to obviously get in the door, but if you just hang on and watch to the end, we will tell you the price point. We never, ever miss out the price point. So please do make sure you watch to the end. It tells you the price point we predict it to come at. Then obviously if it is something that ticks your boxes and you can make our seller an offer that they just cannot refuse before it does go your Rightmove, your Zoopla, and your S1 Homes, please do reach out to us. We can potentially get you a viewing and you can secure your home before anybody else even gets a chance to see it. So make sure you do have a look at the Facebook pages. And if you want a little bit more guidance and a bit of an insight into the pre-portals, again, reach out to us, speak to a member of the team, and we can guide you through what that means. Next is completed. So this is properties that are now over the line and have concluded. So the first one is in St Michael's. So still KY16 postcode. It's on you if you were coming from Cooper or even St Andrews, it's on your way to Dundee. It's a tiny little place, but great in terms of you can go all different directions to get to amenities. This particular property was a 5-bedroom, 3-bathroom, 2-reception detached property. Large footprint of property and a great location as well. You're tucked away, nestled away with only a couple of neighbours, and it had original features. It was the countryside setting, as I say, double garage, extensive parking, vast garden space. Not only was there so much space internally, likewise you had that same space externally, making it an ideal family home. Now this one sold for 460,000 and the new owners are absolutely delighted with their home. Next property, St Andrews, so another KY16 postcode, and it was Hay Fleming Place. It was a 4-bedroom link detached property situated within a cul-de-sac that still offered you off-street parking, extensive rear garden, and also, even better, yes, you're St Andrews, but the way that this property was positioned, you had countryside views, and it sold for 380,000. And the new buyers are absolutely delighted. They came into the office so excited, and they are just over the moon with the location and the views that they get and the lifestyle that it now gives them. So that is the properties that we have sold. And would you believe it is actually 2 properties that have concluded in St Andrews after all that KY16 talk. Now, let's just do a run through of the shows. So, as always, you have the Wealth Creation Show. So, this week's particular show was entertaining ourselves to death, which you might be thinking, what does that topic even mean? But as always, you have Richard Cook, your lettings director, and Jim Parker, one of the UK's most successful property investors, and they were on hand discussing the topic of entertaining ourselves to death. Now, yes, the show was yesterday, but you absolutely can go back, rewatch it, and if there is any questions or even comments or anything you wish to share with them, they would love to hear from you. But it's all about how we live the most entertained generation in history, yet more people feel distracted, perhaps anxious, and more stuck than ever before. Now, in yesterday's episode of the Wealth Creation Show, they explore a few quiet but uncomfortable questions. What if consistent entertainment is costing us more than we realise? Now, it's not a rant, they're absolutely not ranting. It's not anti technology, and it's not about guilt or discipline. It's a calm, honest conversation that took place about attention, distraction, fulfillment, and why some capable people feel like they're running and not actually moving. If you ever wondered why focus feels harder, why time disappears, or why progress perhaps feels slower than it should, the episode that they did will give you language for something you've probably felt for a long time. So do go watch that, absolutely. And it'll perhaps allow you to slow the noise, regain clarity, and think more deliberately about where your attention really goes. Now, all the links will be in this post, so you can just click easily and watch it, read through it, and take some fantastic insights to it, absolutely. And another show that took place was Perry and I did 2026 home design trends and 5 of the best for a premium refresh. Now, it's not us saying that you need to redecorate every single year, but obviously interior designs over the years, it evolves. So it's always worth keeping an eye for any home design trends that you can perhaps use that will just add that refresh to your property. Now, within it, we give you some fantastic insights, and it's about 3 L's, as Perry liked to call it, and it was the lived in, layered, and loved. Then we discuss colour capping, or colour drenching, as I like to know it, rich and edible tones, statement stone and dark wood, and pocket-sized home retreats. So we gave you kind of hints and tips and tricks into all of those different categories. So again, do go back and watch that if you're just needing a bit of inspiration, or even if you're just wanting to perhaps share some of your kind of design trends or things that have really worked for you. Likewise, things that maybe haven't. We love to hear from you, so please do share that. So that is the shows that have taken place. So that is us for our weekly update. Do come back next week to watch the monthly roundup. In the meantime, reach out to us if you can help with anything. But for now, all the best. Take care.